And remember, respect is everything.
Smoking a blunt, licking a lump. Richie T is one DOS.
Showing love, dancing in the club, showing love.
GTA 1 was a big hit with 3 million copies sold and glowing reviews about how big and free the world felt. But weirdly enough, not much is known of the development of GTA 2 other than BMG Interactive and DMA Design went their separate ways, with DMA Design being shopped around until BMG Interactive, now called Rockstar Games, acquired DMA Design and named it Rockstar North. The GTA IP is now in the hands of Rockstar Studios and its publisher, Take-Two. Most of the development was basically upgrading GTA 1 with physics tweaked, new rendering engine, and bug fixing. DMA mostly focused on the story and the concept of a GTA world taking place in the future. 2 years after GTA 1, GTA 2 was released on October 22, 1999 for the PlayStation 1, Dreamcast, and PC.
Judge and jury, Fanny Joe Styles.
GTA 2 was the next installment in the franchise, though this time it didn't really go as planned, as it had underperformed commercially and had mixed reviews when released. Most of the problems stemmed with GTA 2 not innovating as much from the prior game, as the game is still a 2D top-down perspective, with the controls using arrow keys on PC, and for some reason the D-pad on the Dreamcast and N64. At least you can rebind the keys in the PC version. DMA really tried to make tank control happen.
DMA.
Stop trying to make
Tank controls.
happen. It's not going to happen.
The biggest change to the game is that health and armor pickups are now found consistently near payphones, making it easier to recover health than before. But many of the other pickups, such as the invisibility pills and infinite ammo, can be found with some more exploring. Getting rid of cops is still the same, albeit worse that there's only one cop ride pickup in the entire game. Once you use it, the game forces you to rely on paint shops to clear the stars.
Did you know that?
Fun fact, the paint shop name is an Easter egg for the Max Payne game 2 years before the game was released.
Now you know!
Giving you basically no other options to get rid of the police other than to spend money. The mission structure is the same concept from the first game, with the payphones giving out missions, with the 7 factions in the game giving you the missions, and depending how much respect you have, that allows you to take on harder missions for the faction. Unlike the first game with its myriad of timed missions, here the devs flex their creative muscles. Instead of running over players in a stadium, being the darkest that they get, you now use a fire truck that has a modded nozzle to now shoot fire instead of water, and kill rednecks that are impersonating Elvis Presley. Rockstar finally has included a save function in the game, but at the cost of spending $50,000 to save, which I find wildly overpriced since it would take around 1 hour of gameplay to be able to spend all your money to save. Unlike in the previous game where each map had more than 3 multipliers, GTA 2 only had 4 multipliers in the entire game, all in the residential district, none in the downtown or industrial district. But only these issues deter you from playing the game. GTA 2 is fun. The story, while bare bones, is interesting. The shooting has since improved since your bullet actually connects this time, and the driving feels better to control. They took note from GTA in London driving and added more traction and weight. The best driving controls yet for its time. The police are way better than before because they don't bust you when they grab you anymore. Now they have to overwhelm you to get busted. They can still kill you by blowing up your car if you're in it. The more stars you collect, the faster they spawn. After 2 stars, the SWAT team comes with their van of 6 guys. 3 will give you roadblocks, 4 will give you the Secret Service, 5 will give you army men and Hummers, and 6 will have tanks with army men stationed all around the city, trying to blow you off this planet. This is the first GTA game to have collectibles. All 3 maps have collectibles. They are the logo of the game. For each 17 logos you collect, you unlock one of the bonus stages. This can either be racing, destroying a number of vehicles, or killing 150 people. There are 50 collectibles in total in each map. They are pretty easy to find if you're diligent enough. The music in this game by far stood out the most. Each faction have their own radio station with its own genre, and 2 other stations that are not tied to any other factions. The hosts for each radio stations are so memorable, such as the host of KGBH playing a song for his wife.
I'm very much liking my known radio station. I just have a little dedication to make to my wife Wanda. Wanda, I want to say I'm sorry I didn't make home last night. I was very much drinking. I did not make it. I want to make it, but I hope you make me dinner still because I like your borscht. It's very good, and I also like the little potatoes.
He is funny and
sour cream, and I'll come by for dinner later. Okay? Now.
He is funny and bright, plays the music that I like, Bomba Tom.
Music special for my wife. Special for my wife. I play special for you. This is something that I've had very many years at home, and this very nice piece. I don't have it. I don't have peace. Proto, get over here. What you do with this matters my case. I had case with this piece. This is not good. Forget it. I can't. Sorry, Wanda, I can't play this piece for you. But I want to give you something later private. Okay.
KGBH.
The host of Future Radio has some pretty funny quips and shills for the Zaibatsu company, with an ad that I cannot let you guys hear because the video will get age restricted.
So I'm driving to work the other day. I decided I needed some smokes to get me through, you know. So I pull over, park the car, go in the store, come out. A minute later, the car is gone. Stolen. 5th time this month. These people, these car thieves, joyriders, I tell you, I wish they all had one big neck so I could put my hands around it and choke the living life out of all of them all at once. Hey, here's a word from our sponsors.
Cold, hard chocolate.
And the best radio host by far is Teriyaki-chan of Funami FM, voiced by Saiko Yoshida. For an intro of a song, she would scream random Japanese gibberish to lead into the song Fly Mufa.
Funami FM, fossil and sound.
Rocky Toki teriyaki. Teriyaki tastes like sake.
Mommy will for your mommy. Tune into Funami.
フラメゲームから私なんと私テリヤキちゃんだよーん。今日は本当に暑いよ。嫌になっちゃう。まったくムカつきよな。この bad weather, bad traffic, and bad crime。叫んじゃねえんだな。私たちのこと。ヤクザの石かも見方わかんねえよな本当に。ビッグロッター。ジョニーズムダニーズムみんなカークラムになっちゃってさこのコンピューターゲーム好きと思うんだね。こんなの本当に面白いのかよ。
It's such a good transition that really gets you hyped. Overall, the music in this game is the best so far. Rockstar still hasn't missed with the music choices in the GTA series yet. It's 1999 and Claude, not related to GTA 3 Claude, is working and using each faction to move up the criminal empire business.
I'm in the empire business.
As you would annoy and disrupt the other factions in a myriad of ways, such as pretending to be a taxi, picking up Zaibatsu gun, and to then dumping them into the ocean, to stealing an opposing faction's car, and killing their rivals to instigate a gang war. Heists get their start here with the first one I encountered in the residential district. It had me taking an old railway and using a broken track as a ramp to infiltrate the SRS HQ and started a massacre of scientists. The map are probably the most detailed by far, with how each location completely feels different from one another, with the downtown district feeling busy because of the main highway square, and each district consisting of even smaller squares packed with tight corners that test your drifting skills. The residential district being more spaced with smaller highways, circling the map with many neighborhoods within the city. The industrial district is the biggest map of the game. It's filled with warehouses and factories, and an island called Mad Island, where its citizens kills anyone who passes by, that not even the police can survive the attack. There are 3 factions in each district. Each faction gives you missions with varying degrees of difficulty. There is one consistent faction in each map, and it's the Zaibatsu Corporation. Zaibatsu is a pharmaceutical company that transports and distributes, well, drugs, all across Anywhere City. Their faction car is a Z-type with the letter Z stamped on the roof of the car. The missions they give out are usually to cause gang wars between the other 2 factions, sabotaging deals, rigging weapons to backfire in them. The best way to deal with them is to finish their missions last, since they do have the hardest missions in the late game. Factions found in the first map, the downtown district, are the Loonies, the Yakuza, and Zaibatsu. The Loonies are a group of escaped mental asylum patients who embody the name Chaos. Their missions are basically blowing up cars, lighting people on fire, or blowing up buildings. The name of their faction car is called the Dementia, which is a small, slow, compact car. The Yakuza faction is pretty much the same faction from the first game, as they just want to kill the Zaibatsu goons, be a driver for their heist, and help escort their doctor around, the usual. The next area, Residential District. The Residential District is run by SRS, the Rednecks, and of course, Zaibatsu. The colors of the map is more pronounced here. with the SRS having a tan color scheme in their territory, the civilian territory being blue, Zaibatsu having a pink color scheme, and the rednecks having a muted green and brown color. Rednecks are pretty much the same as loonies, only that they're a bit smarter than them, with some thought out heists that aren't just blowing up cars. They are also Elvis impersonators, so you can see them marching around in the city sounding like Elvis. The SRS are just a horny version of the Zaibatsu faction, since they produce sex drugs. The goons are clones that were created to be perfect humans. The only downside is that any sickness will kill them. They're pretty strong since they use assault rifles, and I had the most trouble with them since they swarm and scatter so quickly that I would even say they're harder to escape from than the police. The last area. The downtown district is the best map by far, with the factions Hare Krishna and the Russian Mafia, and Zaibatsu making their final appearance. The Russian Mafia is the most interesting faction by far, since each mission are actually different and interesting. They'll give you missions such as stealing a bus and filling it up with passengers to take it to a meat packing factory and force them to walk through the meat grinder. You can even hear the screams of agony as they get mutilated and packed. The Mafia orders Claude to sell these human hot dogs to people around the city. The Hare Krishna faction missions are pretty dark, such as kidnapping 4 goons from both Zaibatsu and the Russian Mafia to forcefully convert them. You can hear the screams of those forced to convert. They also hate the Zaibatsu faction to a point of you committing terrorism as you disrupt the construction of a mall that the Zaibatsu Corporation legally stole their land for. The rivalries are all-time high here, with many missions dealing with multiple enemies all at the same time. The Zaibatsu Corporation is at its strongest here. Missions went from dealing drugs under a time limit to remote controlling a Russian limousine and baiting the Russian goons into Krishna territory as you sit and watch the Krishna swarm. And the big heist here is to infiltrate an army base and steal a tank, because the last tank you told for them was rigged and blew itself up. The Zaibatsu Corp is unhinged here, with complete control over the city. Claude is probably the most wanted man alive with all the crimes he committed to this point. The way to end the game is by beating all the missions in the map, and then you start running over each faction goons until you get the final mission called the Final Job, where Claude has to kill each leader of the faction. I was so tired of the game that I waited 10 minutes after my last mission and wait for the last job to pop up, but it never did. Hey guys, Editing Biscuit here. I didn't really notice in my initial gameplay that I had a positive relationship with the Zaibatsu Corporation, but I was already kind of tired of the game at this point, so yeah.
Hey pal, you just blowing from Stupid Town?
So I saved and then ended the game. The game greeted me with a picture collage of the stills from the movie and the text, "Nice try." I thought the game was insinuating that I haven't beaten the final mission because I didn't get the good ending. And when researching why it didn't pop up for me, I found a video of the mission. They completed the mission and the ending was exactly the same. A very underwhelming ending. GTA 1 at least gave you a pretty funny ending with how nonchalant Brother Marcus tells you how rich you became.
Hey, rude boy, got the idea that you got the job done and thing. I'm just saying well done on that. Serious cash in the briefcase, you know. So, I don't think I'll be seeing you for a long time.
But the final job is the hardest mission yet, and you still get the same ending as if you didn't do it.
What were they thinking?
I have mixed feelings about the game. On one hand, they did improve the gameplay a lot with the saving, driving, and visuals, but it still suffered the same issues, such as the difficulty ramping up way too fast, the no in-mission checkpoints, and especially how unsatisfying the game ends. Managing each faction is a bit harder than it sounds, since the only way to really progress in the game is to at least have the other 2 factions in the negative, so the best strategy I found is just to do 1 faction missions to completion. Other than that, GTA 2 is definitely better than GTA 1 in how smooth the gameplay is and how modern the game feels. Crazy that the next game in the series won't come for another 9 games.